What up, heads? You know who it is, Chuck Reeves, and I'm here with a very special message on behalf of my favorite podcasting platform, Anchor.fm. If you're a listener to the Beard Speaks audio experience and you're not familiar with Anchor.fm, I'm surprised. Because if you've ever wanted to have your own podcast, Anchor.fm is the absolute easiest and most consumer-friendly way to do it. First of all, it's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will even distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard at places like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, all those places where people listen to podcasts. And then immediately you can start making money from your podcast, and there is no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast, from distribution to recording to advertising, all in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
It disappeared. It disappeared. It disappeared. It disappeared. It disappeared. It disappeared. A fine, full, dignified beard.
Some things about this dude right here, Charles Manson, who over the weekend passed away after spending 48 years incarcerated, 40 of it in solitary confinement, for the murder of Sharon Tate and her friends, as well as the LaBiancas in 1969. All right. Today, the TV station, I guess they're a cable channel called Reels, announced that they were going to be releasing a documentary called Charles Manson, His Final Words. Now, apparently, Manson has been calling on the phone some documentary film crew for over the last year. Now, this film was already in production and was getting ready to be released sometime next year, but these people figure with his death being right now, they're not going to be able to add any more to the documentary. It's pretty much over. Put it out now. Now, it's narrated by Rob Zombie. And the way it's making it look, through some of the pieces they showed, some of the other interviews they did, and some of the excerpts from some of the phone calls that Charlie made from San Quentin to these fucking documentary filmmakers, makes me believe that this film is seriously going to pick apart and dissect the state of California's actual case against Charles Manson in the way documentary series such as To Make a Murderer on Netflix, or, Paradise Lost about the West Memphis 3 did, where they took cases where somebody had been convicted and picked them shits apart. Now, why is this weird? Something I said yesterday. He was never at any of these places where he supposedly committed these crimes that he was convicted for and did a whole bunch of time for. And that seems to be a big part of the movie. He was 40 miles away. And they have one of the investigators on the case in the trailer talking about, I knew what it would take to convict him. Whether or not it was true wasn't my business. So I'm very interested in seeing this flick. I think it drops December 2nd. I got to figure out if I even have this station, Reels. But if you're somebody who likes true crime, if you are somebody who likes to see the way that the judicial system is exercised in this country in the various different decades and things, I think that after seeing a movie like that, or really looking into the case that was brought against Charles Manson in court, I don't think in 2017 a district attorney could, I don't think they could convict him. I don't think they could today. So I really think that this movie, Final Words, is going to pick apart his motives and whether or not he actually did it. I'm interested in it. Whether or not the fucking you are. But I'm super interested in it. Let's see. All right, let me explain to people the swastika thing. Because that's something that I think people get confused with too. All right. This was Homeboy when he got arrested. There's no swastika on his head. Okay? During the trial, he cut an X. He took a razor blade and he cut an X. And so did all the girls. Now, the weird thing about it was, he was kept separate from the women, right? Obviously, they were kept in different jails. They were all kept from one another. They couldn't talk to one another, and they didn't communicate. I'll just put it that way. Not in standard means. But one night in jail, Charlie cut an X into his forehead. And the next morning, all the girls showed up with X's cut into their foreheads. All right? Because they all had X'd out of society, quote unquote. Now, once Charlie got to San Quentin and they put his ass in general population, he turned it into a swastika. Because if you go to San Quentin and they put you in the general population and you're white, in the 60s, that was pretty much what you had to do to survive, was become a Nazi. Because in order to combat the black gangs, the Mexican gangs, the Asian gangs, you got to join the white gang. And the only white gang in California prison system, they rally under that swastika, whether it's racism or not. All right. The racism angle, I know they're going to look at that in the documentary, but there's no direct evidence that Charles Manson was ever a racist. As a matter of fact, it was quite the contrary. He made statements that said the black man was superior to white men. And yeah, even though his overall plan and his overall cult teachings involved a race war, quote unquote, Charlie's idea of the race war was the blacks are gonna beat up they're gonna kill all the whites. The blacks are gonna win. Is that racism? I don't understand how that could be racism. So his idea was, we're gonna go hide in the cave after the black man beats the white man and changes the system, and then we'll come back out. So if that's racism, I don't know. Just some interesting stuff that's coming out. This Manson shit's nowhere near over. Guaranteed. Especially if some crazy shit happens, like somebody fucking petitions to overthrow his conviction after he's already dead, which would be dumb, but they could possibly do. Because like I said, I don't think that shit happens today that you convict him. You convict all the rest of them bitches. You convict Tex. You convict all of them. But without some straight up direct, he was there, he did some shit, he told somebody to do some shit. Because that's the other thing. He maintains to this day, I never told him to do anything. Yo, Charlie Manson is free. You can't even say free Charlie Manson anymore. That fool free as hell. He's super free right now. But yeah, flame emojis in the chat if you watch To Make a Murderer, where they took this kid who got convicted of a crime and they put this fucking documentary on Netflix, and then that dude got out based on what the documentary and shit said. Like, that shit happens all the time now. There's a movie on HBO from the 80s and 90s called Paradise Lost, which is a documentary about three men called the West Memphis Three. When three little boys were found murdered and mutilated in this small southern town in West Memphis, Tennessee, these three boys, who were the only kids in town, who, dressed in black, listened to metal music and shit like that, they were arrested, charged, convicted. Over 20 years and 3 documentaries on HBO that tore apart the case for them to get out of jail. And then when they got out under circumstances where the state of Tennessee never had to admit that they were the wrong guys. They never had to pay them any money. They never had to, admit that there was malicious prosecution going on, that they had held fucking dudes basically without fucking proper evidence. Like, they convicted these dudes on some bullshit. So we'll see if this final words thing, the trailer's creepy as fuck. Hold on, let me see if I can get the trailer real quick. It might be on YouTube. I mean, I am talking about it. I might as well play the damn trailer. No. Oh, wait, is that it? No. Oh, you know what? I do have it. Hold on. I did this intentionally. Because I wanted to play it, and I fucking forgot where I put it. But it's particularly creepy because this wasn't them going to jail and visiting him. This was him. This was him calling them, which is fucking weird. And I guess it's been going on for over a year. But the fact that Rob Zombie is the what up, Nick? Thanks for that super chat, Nick. I gotta let an ad play, which I'm not about. I fucking hate ads. But yeah, I just think this Manson thing is gonna go on way longer than people realize. Because the fact of the matter is, when he was in jail, nobody had to talk about him. Why can I not pause it? Like, you're on crack with this. All right. What is going on? All right, let's see if this will work now. Since it's midnight, I appreciate everybody who's tuned into this motherfucker. My name is Chuck Reeves. You're listening to the Beast Host, or you're watching me, and we're about to watch this this Manson joint. I can't find it on YouTube. I think it's only on TMZ. He was a Hollywood celeb, if you really want to get fucking super technical with it, because all his murders happened there. So yeah, this is the trailer for that thing. It's called Manson Final Words.
You have a prepaid call from Charles.
Yo, that would bug me out. Charles Manson calling you from jail. That would bug me the fuck out.
I'm the most famous human being, not only that is alive.
What are you doing?
But the most famous human being that ever lived, and I'm not even dead yet. Do you think it's gonna happen when I die?
That's pretty dope. They got Rob Zombie.
When Charles Manson started calling.
The problem is Manson is famous.
In the late 60s, Charles Manson was convicted for the brutal
Look at that
murder
goofy
of
looking
Sharon
motherfucker.
in 8 August. Though decades have passed since his conviction, the obsessive interest has never waned.
The reasons that this maniac orchestrated this whole thing were just Looney Tunes.
He was trying to ignite a race war.
I didn't believe it.
That was the motive.
Live and let live. You don't let me live, you just don't live. That's all.
They didn't kill people, they butchered people.
The true story remains untold until today.
I never ordered nobody to do anything.
I knew exactly what was necessary to convict him. Whether that was the truth or not wasn't my business to decide.
It was a...
See, that's an
religious
asshole
cult.
statement from a
They were
cop.
always free to leave.
I mean, none of those things are real. I've been deep in thought in solitary confinement for almost 40 years. Thinking, what the hell does all this mean? How does that fit? Where does that work? And the stuff that I've come up with, man, it just
All right, what are you doing now?
unbelievable.
He was not at the
Buffering
scene.
ass
Just-
Mo.
Boggles the mind.
He was 40 miles away when the murders took place.
The victims weren't chosen at random. This is where it all connects.
The story loses me all over the place. He's not lying about nothing.
See? Something tells me they're going to pick apart his conviction and be like, look, how'd you convict this dude of this? Now, he was a weirdo, yeah. And he had a bunch of people, yeah. Should he have been in jail for something? Probably. But it wasn't what they said he did. So I'm going to be interested.
Don't you?
Yeah, that last thing he says there to the interviewer is, I believe what I'm told to believe. Don't you? So, who knows where this movie's going to go. Like I said, I mean, Making a Murderer became a smash fucking hit. Everybody was watching that show. To the point where the dude who was in jail and at the center of the controversy involving that show was released by the judge based on the fucking show. So who knows where they're going with this? And I gotta think that unless, I don't know, unless there's something else involved, Rob Zombie wouldn't be involved in something like this. Unless they're trying to clear his name, or I don't know what they could be doing. But guarantee that shit's certainly going to be fucking interesting. Let's see what's cracking.